So I think at the beginning, for a lot of people, it was too good to be true, right? So they were, whisked out of this really horrible, traumatic storm, put someplace, and then somebody came and literally knocked on their door, one of our outreach teams, and said, hey, do you want to work with us on permanent housing? And that's when the light starts to turn on a little bit, and they're still skeptical. And then we moved them over to this beautiful hotel. It was important to us that it was a nice hotel and that this felt like a dignified experience. And we had a couple, I'll never forget them, I think, for the rest of my career. They came in, they had been living in their Toyota Corolla with their German Shepherd. And the way they said it, they could never even lay down to sleep because the dog took up the whole back seat for 2 years. And when they came in, I remember talking to them the first day in the ballroom as we were checking them in, and even the dog was cowering. You could just see them wearing their trauma. They looked about 20 years older than they actually are. And they were afraid to go to their room because they were afraid they were going to break the rules and miss out on this opportunity. And I said, do you have your key? And they said, yeah. And I was like, go rest. And they both burst into tears. And then it's the realization of you have a door that locks, and you have a shower, and you have a bed, and you have space to heal. And then the way they say it is, so that started, and a couple of days, like the trauma started to, it's still there, but it became a little bit more manageable. And then one turned to the other and said, man, we really need to make an appointment with DHS. We need to get our food stamps. And they walked downstairs. And I said, hey, do you know DHS is here? And they're like, what? So then they go over to DHS. And then somebody else comes up to them and says, we need to get you signed up for housing. And they're just sort of concierge through this experience. And then it's also rebuilding trust. We have a hotel full of people that have been let down over and over and over again. And so when we show up every day and we have the resources we say we're going to have, it helps them engage in it. But we've seen people literally, age falls off of them. Their posture changes. The way they're interacting with each other changes. We had one gentleman who came in, and we, like I said, we have Tulsa Public Schools. They're doing on-site job interviews. He's very kind of shy, and he would sort of talk to the women that were there, but he would never sit down and fill out a job application. And then they finally had a big job fair, and he came down in a suit because he wanted to do it the right way. So the other thing we see is this like reciprocal dignity and respect from people, because we're not treating them like you're welcome for being here. We want to treat them like they're guests of a 5-star resort, and we're so privileged to get to house them. So those are just some of the experiences we've heard. You want to add some more, maybe?
Sure. I think often a misconception is that people choose to be homeless, and yet all of the people that we've brought over have not said, no, I don't want housing. In fact, they've said, yes, I want housing, because it depends what the choice is, right? If the choice is you can go to a shelter where you have to leave at 6 a.m. and then you have all these other requirements. You can't bring your pets when you come back. That's difficult. It's easier just to stay in your tent. But if the option is we have this sort of bridge housing at this nice hotel and we're going to work towards permanent housing, then that is a much more palatable choice that people want. And so I think that, people are excited. I think there is mistrust, of course, and still not quite sure, but we've started to people have been matched with housing and with resources. And so people are starting to move out, and you can kind of feel that momentum happening. And now it's almost sort of the opposite. I have some folks that come up to me and they're like, well, what about my housing? I haven't got my appointment yet. What's happening? So, which is a good thing,
Absolutely.
And it takes time. We do have 263 people that we're trying to get housed. And you know what? I love that Becky was like, we're going to do this. This is a bold goal. And it's like, absolutely, what's the point otherwise? And